Headers are not.
It is the 9th day in February 2024. Welcome to Nationwide. My name is Ogochkuka Ona, and remember to join this broadcast live on our social media platforms. The National Economic Team has reassured Nigerians that the federal government has put in place short and long-term monetary and fiscal policies to improve Nigeria's economic fortunes. It was at an engagement with the Senate Joint Committees on Finance, National Planning, and that of banking and financial institutions. We bring you Lamia Ali's reports in the course of the bulletin. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security says it is ready to commence the release of 42,000 metric tons of grains in line with the President's directive. A statement by the Minister, Abubakar says the food items will be sold to the public at subsidized prices. The minister says this will assist Nigerians who are finding it difficult to access affordable food. The food items will be disbursed to all the states from the strategic reserves of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. And now, Borno State Government is to designate 2 filling stations in Damasak, Moba, local government area of the state for sale of petroleum products to farmers at subsidized prices as part of commitment to restore means of livelihood of returnees. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum announced this in Damasak town when he supervised distribution of humanitarian support to 903 new returnees from Niger Republic. Mohammed Goni reports.
Zulum's visit to Damasak was necessitated by the information he has received about the plight of the returnees with a view to providing succor to them. Each of the 386 returnees who have no shelters receive 50,000 naira, 3 pieces of blankets and a mat, while 517 returnees comprising 200 female heads of households having temporary shelters receive 20,000 naira and a similar number of blankets and mats. They have also been propelled to receive food items, shelters and other support in days to come. Governor Zulum also disbursed 100 million naira and clothing materials to 20,000 vulnerable women in the host communities, with each receiving 5,000 naira cash and a fabric. Beneficiaries of the humanitarian support expressed gratitude for the gesture and pledged to use the items for the purpose intended. Governor Zulum pledged to procure solar-powered water pumps and insecticides, drill more boreholes, and establish higher Islamic college to educate women and children in the community. The governor also reiterated commitment to work with the military and other security operatives to fish out those responsible for rampant cases of landmine explosion on the highways, describing the act as a sabotage to the efforts at restoring peace to the sub-region. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
In a bid to finding lasting solution to challenges associated with gas supply to power generation companies in the country, the federal government has set up a ministerial committee to resolve the crisis. This is coming as development partners pledge support for power transformation agenda of the present administration. Joshua Ojito reports.
End in sight for gas constraints to power generation companies as Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu and his counterpart of Petroleum Resources Gas meet to prioritize gas supply for generation companies. Although vandalization of gas pipeline in the Niger Delta is said to be responsible for low gas production, there is optimism that the OB3 line, which supplies gas to the northern part of the country, will soon come on stream. The meeting between the two ministers set up a ministerial committee comprising representatives from the two ministries, gas suppliers, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, and players in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. Timing template to resolve the issues set as the committee has the mandate to swing into action immediately. A statement by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, notes that the major challenge of the power sector is liquidity, and federal government is addressing the challenge for sustainability of the sector. Also, the meeting suggests that payment of domestic gas should be dominated in naira instead of dollar, and a contractual arrangement with gas suppliers be signed. On alternative to power generation from thermal and hydro plants, federal government says is accelerating investment in renewable energy. In addition, development partners promise more intervention in the sector to enable Nigeria overcome challenge of poor power supply. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And now talking security, the Nigerian Navy has arrested a 1,000-ton capacity vessel loaded with suspected illegally refined automotive gas oil, AGO. Kelvin Samuel reports that the content of the vessel is estimated at about 800 million naira.
Activities of economic saboteurs. A typical of such may be this 1,000-barrel capacity vessel fully loaded with automotive gas oil suspected to be illegally refined and without proper documentation.
So imagine what that amount of money will do for these communities around here, for the country itself at large. We're talking about deficits in social welfare, deficits in infrastructure, deficits in education. There's a lot that kind of money can do, rather than go to the pockets of one criminal.
The commander, NNS Jubilee Commodore Madumon Ide, while explaining the event that led to the arrest of the vessel, reassures the Nigerian Navy's determination to rid the nation's waterways of criminal elements.
The objective was to deepen our resolve to ensure that we clear our maritime space of all these criminals. And we will make the space unbearable. We will make their efforts such a mountainous climb they will have to give up.
The vessel, its captain, and 9 crew members were arrested last December by NNS Oji and handed over to the NNS Jubilee, while they are currently awaiting prosecution at the forward operating base, Ibaka. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
Effective leadership is strategic for an even development of any society. This was the view shared by Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State and other stakeholders at a lecture on leadership organized by the National Defense College in Abuja.
As the world grapples with emerging security threats, a development social analysts are judged to have slowed down socio-economic growth, especially in developing countries. The need to find innovative ways of dealing with these emergencies becomes imperative. And that is why the National Defense College, Nigeria's apex military training institution, in its series of lectures for course 32 participants, focuses on issues bordering on leadership, national development, the media, amongst others, in building capacity of personnel.
If we fail to innovate, then we might suffocate as a nation. We must innovate. We must continue to evolve. The world is leaving us behind, and to catch up, we must put on our thinking caps. And that is why here in the college, we started investing in renewable energy as a way of preparing for the future.
Well, one of those is about inclusion, about stakeholding with the security agencies, with the traditional institutions, within our own peculiarity as a state, because we are governed by our values system, where we have traditional rulers, we have religious leaders, we have the civil society, and of course the political class.
The lecture series is part of effort by NDC in producing thorough breed of senior military officers.
A concerned civil society group, Citizens Initiative for Security Awareness, has called on the federal government and the security agencies to deal decisively with those spreading false and divisive stories. Reacting to the manner at which unverified news are being perpetrated in recent times, the group says sharing unverified stories in this period of our national life without painstaking verification is aimed at pitching the nation's security services against one another.
As a patriotic organization, we wish to advise the presidency, the Senate, security service, and indeed all well-meaning Nigerians not to succumb to antics of the groups that promote fake news, and hate speech, which merely blind the mind. We also call on security agencies to arrest and prosecute any group attempting to defame other Nigerians for ulterior motive.
The group also urges the federal government not to allow any group engaging in frivolous activities to distract it from attending to essential legislative and national matters. Now, despite the challenges of life that inevitably arise from time to time, the people of Down Quarter community in Kaduna State stand united against any attempt to make them uncomfortable. They understand their strengths and weaknesses and continue to work tirelessly to have an environment where everyone feels valued and appreciated, irrespective of religious affiliations. Mohammed Umar Ajingi reports.
Kaduna State had its own experience of ethnic and religious crisis in the past, with communities staying together in peace for many years, divided across this river called River Kaduna. The residents often find comfort in communities that share their faith. But with time, the people have understood the importance of peace, choosing to stay together as a family despite differences in faith or tribe.
Christian and Muslim, all of us now.
Both Christian and Muslim, we are going the same father, the same mother.
This is one of the community embracing genuine peace in Kaduna, where differences are celebrated.
The people in Dankota work in the railways, and some work in textile, a child of Yoruba, Igbo, Fulani, Hausa, and the other tribes. They know they are right from grassroots. So it's very hard for them to fight themselves.
A retired army personnel, Hassan Yalla from Mangu in Plateau State, tells me what captured his attention to stay in this community.
When we do peacekeeping, I always observe this place is very, very, very peaceful.
This is the football field serving as a unifying factor here in Dam Quarter, where the youth of this community gathered with just a single aim of playing football. The team spirit displayed during the football, irrespective of the differences in tribe or religion, are what the people of Dam Quarter have been exhibiting for quite a long time.
We've been living in peace and unity.
The story of Dam Quarter shows that embracing diversity allows individuals to appreciate their differences, leading to a more inclusive and harmonious coexistence. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajinki, NTA News.
And joining me from Kaduna is still Mohammed Umar Ajingi for more insight on the peaceful coexistence among the diverse tribes at Dan Quarter in Kaduna, who are attested to being their brother's keeper. Hello, Mohammed. Good to see you. Can you tell us more on the binding force in this regard?
Well, good to see you. Like you've heard in that story, Kaduna once experienced ethnic and religious crisis some years back. But all this now have gone. It is now past tense. The people have understood that they can only achieve meaningful progress and development when they stay in peace. And this community, Down Quarter, is one of the community in Kaduna State that has so many people from different parts of this country staying harmoniously in peace with each other. It is a community that was given birth because of the presence of most industries around the environment, like the textiles industry, as well as the presence of the Nigerian railway station here called Kaduna Junction, where in the past a number of friends from different parts of the country stopped by to upload their goods. It is an emblem example of a community that have really understood that their diversity, that is where exactly their strength lies, and with unity they can achieve meaningful development and progress. In this community you could find what a Yoruba man married to a Hausa lady, vice versa. They have more than 10 different tribes here, and they are existing coharmoniously in peace without any challenge. And this has brought the fact that mostly in communities, if you want to achieve a real and genuine peace, you have to work on the youth in the community. The people of Dankwata have understood this fact very well, and that is why from the early stage, from the beginning, they have understood the fact that if their youths come together, go to school together, stay together and play together, that unity can be achieved. They have a football field where you saw in that story that is serving as a source of unity, where they converge every day just with the aim of playing football. You know the spirit in football. The aim is just to either play the game for the joy of it or to score goal in a competition. So that is the same spirit the people of Dankwata are exhibiting for quite a long time. As a matter of fact, it is one of the community in Kaduna State that had never experienced any religious or ethnic conflict. The youth here have understood this fact that to stay in peace is very important, and that is the only way you can achieve peace, progress and development. And this is a community that other communities in Nigeria should emulate for us to have continual peace, progress and development in this country.
Very well, very, very impressive. Actually, peace is the only thing that can move us forward. Thank you very much, Omar Ajingi, for that very, very wonderful contribution.
Thank you very much.
All right, from Kaduna now, we'll be heading straight to Lagos, and Adiola is standing by for the latest reports from that zone. Hello, Adiola.
Good to see you. A month after the closure of the Third Mainland Bridge for comprehensive repairs, the pace of work has been redoubled to ensure completion of the project ahead of a timeline to reduce the agony of road users who endure long hours in traffic to connect to and from the mainland. Joel Popola reports.
Repairs on the Third Mainland Bridge is always an Herculean task, often adversely impacting economic activities in Lagos. But the federal government is determined to change this narrative by intensifying the first phase of the repairs. With the fast pace of work, the first phase, which began in January, has reached advanced stage, with laying of asphalt on the 11.8 kilometers bridge nearing completion, while other major components have also been put in place.
The contractor will move in to even expand this Adeliji access so that more vehicles, the maneuvering time and access can be increased. They work on ground. The contractor is working according to time and specification. There's no issue about that. He will deliver within the record time.
More workers have been deployed, while the hours of work has also been extended in line with the timeline of the project. Scheduled time for vehicular movement on the Third Mainland Bridge has been a harrowing experience for road users. They appealed for an improvement in traffic management to ease their pains.
We spend more on fuel because of the conversion. Yes, traffic. Yeah.
I have to spend like 1 hour just from Surrey to Pangrove. You know, it's not been easy at all.
Ordinarily, Surrey to Pangrove should have been
just 15 minutes.
The first phase of the comprehensive repair is expected to last for 8 weeks. In Lagos, Joel Ukbola, NTA News.
As advanced nations continue to shift focus away from oil and gas to knowledge economy, stakeholders in Nigeria's education sector are clamoring for the nation to key into this paradigm shift, investing in education sector, especially research and technological innovation.
Nigeria's quest to diversify its economy has opened up opportunities in other sectors, especially the digital and creative economy. While government is gaining more mileage in the digital and creative economy, experts want government to also reposition the education sector to exploit opportunities in research and other areas in the knowledge economy to keep pace with the rest of the world.
We all know that research institutes, if we are to take everything to 100%, we need funding. Federal government are trying their best. We are also trying our own best. We gear up our researches.
So many industries make money available for research. So it's when you conduct research that you get new findings that contribute to knowledge. Here we have that problem. We don't have grants. Most of the rich people don't do that. Most of the companies are not interested. They rather go abroad and bring in already conducted research rather than doing research on what we have. So it's a fund, and the government really have to work on that.
Although there are various research-based institutions, technology and skill acquisition centers that are leveraging on innovation to create jobs, experts believe more can still be done. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Lagos for now. Sokoto Network Center is our next stop, but that will be after this commercial break. Please stay with us.
Welcome to Sokoto on Nationwide. Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Saad Abubakar has called on federal government to provide state-of-the-art equipment to the Nigeria Immigration Service to enhance its efficiency and effectiveness. He made the call while receiving controller Ilela Special Border Command Sokoto Ismail Usman at the palace. The Sultan also played host to the State Commissioner Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, Sokoto Zonal Office. The report.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar expressed concern over inadequate facilities to the Nigerian Immigration Service, which he noted affects their ability to secure the nation's borders effectively. He called on the federal government to provide necessary equipment such as modern surveillance and communication system to enable the service effectively carry out its duties. Controller Ilela Special Border Command Sokoto Ismail Usman thanked the Sultan for his support and promised to deploy more personnel to effectively man the Ilela border. It's an appeal to traditional rulers and other stakeholders to support efforts of the service in securing the nation's borders. He urged Sokoto State Government to include them in the State Security Council. Also at the palace was the Commissioner of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) in charge of Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara states, Erwa Tukur. The Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar stressed the need for the ICPC to continue the fight against corruption in the country, describing corruption as a major challenge facing Nigeria and that everyone has a role to play.
For it to succeed, all of us must come together. Whoever we are, we must support you. And when you succeed, we'll be a happier society because corruption is less and people are developing more. Holding full stop is corruption.
State Commissioner ICPC Erwa Tukur Idris says they are at the palace to solicit support of the Sultan and assured of their determination to continue to work for a corrupt-free society. From Sokoto, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal has inaugurated the Board of Trustees for the newly established State Security Trust Fund with a passionate appeal for a more collaborative effort to effectively tackle the persistent security challenges. The 21-member board is under the chairmanship of former Inspector General of Police Muhammad Dahiru Abubakar. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The inauguration of the Board of Trustees for the newly established Zamfara State Security Trust Fund by Governor Dauda Lawal followed the recent approval of the board members by the State House of Assembly. Governor Lawal emphasized that the initiative is part of efforts to widen the horizons in the quest for viable and enduring solutions to the persistent security challenges being faced by the state.
The decision to establish the trust fund was motivated by the recognition that the security situation in Zamfara State, along with its attendant consequences, has become a matter of great concern, not only to the government and citizens of Zamfara State, but also to the entire nation.
The governor, who maintained that the Board of Trustees members were meticulously appointed based on their experience and track records, expressed confidence that they would justify the confidence reposed in them. The Board of Trustees, under the chairmanship of the former Inspector General of Police Muhammad Dahiru Abubakar, draws members, most of whom with security background and broad experience in public service and private sector, as well as representatives of the security agencies and some other relevant organizations.
Your Excellency, by the grace of Allah, we shall give you a proper strategic plan for the launching of the State Security Trust Fund properly. Nobody is going to be left out.
Functions of the Board of Trustees include managing the funds to be realized, procuring and maintaining equipment, as well as advising the state government on any matter related to security, among other things. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Abuja for the continuation of the news.
Thank you very much, Asmao. I'm now back in Abuja and straight to Taraba State. Taraba State's government has flagged off Taraba Education Students Identification System to have accurate data for effective implementation of free and compulsory education policy in the state. Correspondent Bem Hanya reports.
Governor Bukefas, on assumption of office, declared free and compulsory education at the primary and secondary school levels in the state. Towards this end, the governor has flagged off the Taraba Education Students Identification System, TESIS, an initiative that is programmed to ensure that every child in Taraba is captured in a database so as to benefit from the free education policy.
Through this program, we are creating an inclusive and equitable educational system by removing financial barriers for students and actively involving teachers in the planning process.
The Commissioner for Education, Dr. Augustina Godwin, said the digital enrollment of students, pupils, and teachers is necessary to enable the government to allocate resources and plan adequately for the education sector, as enrollment in public schools has increased tremendously since the commencement of the free education policy. A student of Nyamusala Secondary School, Jalingo, Abdul Salma Aliu, appreciated the governor for his huge investment in the education sector. The flag-off is an indication of better days ahead for the education sector in Taraba State. In Jalingo, Bem Hanya, NTA News.
Information dissemination in the 21st century is a vital tool towards correcting societal misconception, which is why the Nigeria Technical Aid Corps is seeking partnership with the Nigerian Television Authority to drum louder its activities beyond the shores of the country. Ngozi Technicu's report has details of the visit to NTA.
The Nigeria Technical Aid Corps, established since 1987, has the mandate of promoting Nigeria's economic interests in addition to boosting the nation's image before the global community. The Director General of the Corps says this task is being achieved through collaborations, hence the need to ride on the far-reaching capacity of the NTA.
I know even in this room, so many people don't know much about the activities of the Nigerian Technical Aid Corps. And if we don't talk, if we don't tell the world what we are doing, the world will not know that we are really a superpower in this region and even beyond.
On his part, the Director General of the NTA assured the visitors of increased publicity to educate the Nigerian populace of the international voluntary services the Corps renders to the developing countries.
People need to understand what the concept even behind the creation of the Technical Corps and the journey so far and what the plans of the Technical Corps are, so that people will be able to key in, and to assure you that we are very ready to partner with you.
The handshake between the two bosses is expected to go beyond this room. In Abuja, Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
And now health matters. 41 new contacts have been traced and are being monitored in the Federal Capital Territory for possible indication of Lassa fever. This is a sequel to concerns over the re-emergence of the viral hemorrhagic illness that can lead to severe complications if not promptly addressed. Hakimat Aliu followed up with the authorities closely monitoring the cases.
Lassa fever is a viral hemorrhagic illness with symptoms ranging from mild to severe. It is a public health issue, with cases and deaths reported from the disease over the years, following recent confirmation of 2 out of 4 suspected cases of Lassa fever in Gwagwalada and Buhari area councils in the Federal Capital Territory. The Deputy Incident Manager for Lassa fever in FCT noted that 41 contacts were traced and are being monitored for symptoms consistent with the disease, many of whom have returned negative.
These are people that had close contact with them and are at the risk of having been exposed to the virus. We are expected to monitor them for 21 days. As at today now, we've discharged 28 of them. We still have 11 that we are monitoring. We have to monitor them for 21 days following the last day of contact with the cases.
Speaking further, Dr. Lawal reassured that the disease is so far under control in the FCT.
Currently, concerning the Lassa fever outbreak in FCT in 2024, there is no cause for alarm.
Experts' advice on the prevention of Lassa fever is for all to maintain good hygiene practices, from regular hand washing to proper food handling and avoiding contact with rodents who are the reservoir of the infection. The health authorities maintain they would continue with risk communication across the 6 area councils and the FCT, as well as resensitization for health workers. They also advise all to report any fever which is not responding to treatment or any other symptoms to the nearest health facility. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliu, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Hakimat. And still talking health. Access to health care implies that health care services are available and obtainable in a timely manner. Yet, rural residents often encounter barriers. Even when an adequate supply of healthcare services exists in the community, there are other factors that may impede access. Olayinka Ojo in this report takes a look at what the National Youth Service Corps is doing in this regard through its program, Health Initiative for Rural Dwellers.
National Youth Service Corps developed a healthcare program tagged Health Initiative for Rural Dwellers.
We're deploying resources at our disposal to complement the effort of the federal government towards achieving universal health coverage as part of its social welfare programs.
Now, Gosa Serki, a community under Abuja Municipal Area Council, where members of the community say the only medical facility in the community has been overstretched, was the next stop for the medical outreach.
We have the challenge of health problem, like typhoid, malaria, different kind of sickness.
We have mobilized 50 core medical personnel comprising 20 medical doctors, 12 pharmacists, 10 nurses.
During the medical outreach, core medical volunteers carried out diagnosis, treatments, including minor medical procedures and referrals of patients.
We are really glad.
In appreciation of the complementary role of government by the scheme, Gosa Serki community head Isha Kunana and a community member say the community has a medical healthcare center but lacks adequate infrastructure.
Even though the pregnant women do go to the healthcare, which is not enough, I want government to establish a big hospital for this community.
And since the launch of the Health Initiative for Rural Dwellers in 2014, more than 3 million persons have been attended to by the NYSC medical team. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
And to collectively address and advocate mental health awareness and holistic wellness, the African Mental Health and Wellness has held an open dialogue to foster meaningful connections and work to promote a brighter and healthier future for all. Deborah Balagbobo reports that the conference hopes to make a profound impact and empower individuals to lead fulfilling lives.
Gathered here are stakeholders in the health sector. Their mission is to address crucial aspects of well-being that significantly impact on the lives of individuals, families, and communities across Africa.
When they say mental, you think it's craze. It is not craze. It's not madness. It's not not losing out of your head. It's talking about your well-being.
Physical wellness, emotional wellness, spiritual wellness, everything is connected.
because you cannot enjoy physical and mental, they work hand in hand.
Aside having life, there are certain things that you must factor into ensuring that you have an overall satisfying and fulfilling life.
Attitude has something to do with people's way of thinking.
Managing Director, Africa Mental Health and Wellness Conference, Onyinye Ugweke, believes that through this conference, actionable strategies to promote mental health and total well-being in Africa will be achieved.
Hope that with much awareness, people will feel more comfortable, because it has to come from a place of comfort.
So they even see you as a role model. You go die. That means you have killed 10 people that were thinking you are a role model. True or false? So don't ever think about yourself alone to take decisions.
But you're willing to be patient, to be the person that impacts the lives of people, you will see a difference.
The conference also introduced an initiative, a helpline called Just Before You Die, to further check the mental health of citizens and help reduce suicide cases. In Abuja, Deborah Balagubu, NTA News.
Recreational drug misuse and abuse have continued to wreak havoc in the society, especially among the youths. Jane Francis Obi reports that prolonged use can cause changes to the brain and affect a person's ability to function adequately.
Addiction is a chronic relapsing disorder characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use despite adverse consequences. It involves functional changes to brain circuits involved in reward, stress, and self-control. This, if not properly dealt with, experts say, can result in prolonged mental illnesses. A medical practitioner, Dr. Martin Siked, noted that it can also lead to anxiety, depression, psychosis, and memory problems.
You can imagine some people go to other places for help, like prayer houses, and we only have a fraction of those people coming to this place. We are not aiming to cure the person, we are aiming to manage it. You have the generation differences where people cannot communicate to people who are older. You know, all these things push young people to use.
What we can do as family is to love our kids so much that they will open up to us, especially when depression sets in.
You need wider education, where you have town hall meetings, where the youth, especially the youth, need to be talked to.
Treatment involves therapy and medication, counseling, peer support, and community support services. In Oka, Jane Francis Obi, NTA News.
Let's now join Jane Francis Obi from Oka for more updates on the story that is the story you just presented, Jane Francis. What is the percentage of those using drugs in the state?
Good evening and welcome to Oka. Drug addiction has numerous consequences on the social, medical, psychiatric, economic problem to the society, and their burden to the family and the individual as a whole.
Okay, you've told us part of that in the background reports. In the course of packaging the story, did you get the percentage of those who are being affected by drug misuse in your area of coverage?
The medical expert I interviewed have it at 8 out of 50 persons. Between 8 to 50 persons come daily for medical attention at the clinic. And others are not also documented. Other people go to herbalists, others to spiritualists. So these are not properly documented. But the figure coming to the psychiatric hospital is targeted at 7 to 50 daily.
Wow, that's appearing alarming. So what are the authorities doing in this regard? I mean, the governments. What are they doing to stem the tide?
There's a lot that the government can do. One of such is establishing rehabilitation centers for those who are already addicted. And also having programs targeted at the youth to deter them, others who want to join, who are not addicted but want to join. So these programs will help them, the youth, to understand that there are consequences in drug addiction and help them to run away from those things that will affect them because it affects the future.
All right, thank you very much, Jane, for joining us on Nationwide. Okay, back in Abuja, we now return to Lami Ali's report, where we told you that the National Economic Team is reassuring Nigerians that the federal government is putting in place short and long-term monetary and fiscal policies to improve Nigeria's economic fortunes.
Addressing critical concerns related to exchange rates and inflationary pressures on the economy are the main agenda at these engagements between the economic team and lawmakers.
Over 200 million people, very prosperous people. The human capital is there, natural resources is there. We did not place ourselves where we're supposed to be. And this is the reason why today, with little shock somewhere, it affects us here.
And how do you expect to generate foreign exchange when farmers are not in their farms?
That there is need for us to provide security to our farmland, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. What we have today, as at December ending, we have inflation that was almost at about 29%. So I would like to know what specific measures do we have in place to tame rising inflation?
The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria says government is determined to put the country on the path of prosperity as measures to tackle fundamental issues bordering the macroeconomic landscape are daily being fine-tuned for stability.
Inflationary pressures are expected to decline in 2024 due to the CBN's inflation targeting policy, aimed to rein in inflation to 21.4%, aided by the improved agricultural productivity and easing global supply chain pressures. To address exchange rate volatility, a comprehensive strategy has been initiated to enhance liquidity in the foreign exchange markets. This includes unifying FX market segments, clearing outstanding FX obligations, introducing new operational mechanisms for BDC and IMTOs, and enforcing the net open position limit.
Ministers of Finance, Agriculture, and that of Budget and National Planning said government is making efforts to tackle the challenges which are temporary, appealing for more patience from Nigerians.
The commitment is to face the pains of Nigerians and to do everything that can be done to ease those pains. And of course, on the foreign exchange side, to achieve stability.
The balancing of the reforms and ensuring that the necessary measures have been implemented urgently in order to ensure that we even support the reform. The commendable act of removing fuel subsidy needs to be supported by measures that support domestic production.
Within the next 8 to 10 days, we should be able to roll out. We should be able to make a significant impact as planned. So are the grains available? I would say yes. The ones that we're about to release are available. The issue of importation, I know a lot of senators have raised concerns, and I think out there also there are concerns. It's not something that will be protracted over a period of time.
We are also monitoring them very closely. This is just the first, as I said, of the sessions that we are going to have with them.
The team had earlier briefed the House of Representatives on similar issues. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Our next set of reports will be coming from our Port Harcourt Network Center, and Diva Barry is standing by. It's over to you.
Governor Signala Fubara has warned against any form of sabotage at the ongoing 20,000 affordable housing unit project designed to provide decent accommodation for low-income earners in the state. Osnachi Samo reports that this was at an inspection visit by Governor Fubara at the project site at Mbodowalu.
Social amenities citizens expect from the government. The governor, who was conducted round the site by the chief executive of the contracting firm, Mustafa Njie, said he is aware that some individuals are threatening to disrupt the ongoing construction work. He wondered why they are refusing to utilize available and legitimate channels to express their grievances rather than engage in acts of sabotage.
We didn't just jump into this project. We did all the survey that we needed to do. We took our time to check the land and everything. It's a property that belongs to Rivers State government under the Greater Port Harcourt Agency. That's the truth. We are not taking anybody's land. But however, if you feel there is an encroachment, you should know the right authority to visit.
He assured that every support will be given to the contractor to deliver quality structures in record time, while commending the contractor for matching words with actions towards delivering the project. Governor Fubara in December 2023 signed a memorandum of understanding with a private company to provide 20,000 affordable housing units for low-income earners in the state. From Alo in Ikwere local government area of Rivers State, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. Is back to Ogo for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Still on to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Welcome to Jos. Plateau government is emphasizing the need to arrest, prosecute and jail those perpetrating all forms of criminality for peace to reign in the country. Governor Caleb Mutfwang was speaking while receiving members of the PDP Governors Forum in Jos. Grace Akwegotip reports.
Led by the chairman of PDP Governors Forum and Governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, the forum was in the state to commiserate with the governor over the incessant killings, urging the federal government to sustain efforts to end insecurity in the country. Governor Mohammed also called for a state police, which he says remains one of the best ways to get out of the wanton destruction of lives and property. He also encouraged the governor to remain focused and continue with the people-oriented programs that he has started.
We are with you. We know you. You are a Nigerian par excellence. You are a statesman. And your rise is through the dint of hard work.
Governor Mutfwang, who expressed gratitude for the visit, says it is time to rebuild trust among the people, who in turn will expose the criminal elements among them.
By the grace of God, we are not deterred. We are also trying to ensure that we build inter- and intra-community harmony. One thing I have said consistently since becoming governor is that nobody can go it alone. We need unity across the divides of faith, across the divides of ethnicity. If we don't achieve it, it's going to be difficult for the country to be secure.
The governor also emphasized the need to continue to deliver dividends of democracy to the people, to retain their confidence in the PDP, which he described as a party to reckon with in Nigeria. In Jos, Grace Akwegoti, NTA News.
That's the much we can take from here. Ugochikuka is back to you in Abuja for what's left of the news.
Thank you very much, Felicia. And that's where we draw the curtain today on Nationwide. Thank you always for being there.